Alright, I was looking forward to this video. Welcome back to the channel, buddy, and I hope you're doing fine. So the goal of today's video is to take most of the pain points that I gathered from the community and also my pain points and try to give that feedback together with possible solutions to good fun corp. Now, this video, please don't take this the wrong way, okay? This is not about me trashing good fun corp. Hunger is, in my opinion, amazing and has crazy potential. We still don't have all the new hunger like the Screecher or the, what's it called? The big tall guy there? The tower, I think? We don't have all the other hunger stuff that is planned. All the bosses. I think the dungeons aren't even done. We will get different game modes. There will be battlegrounds. There will be 2 more maps. There will be more characters that you can play. We are looking at the fraction of the big picture. And we need to keep this in mind when we address some of these pain points, because maybe we don't see the future idea of it. Good example would be Serene. Anti-poison right now is kind of whatever, and poisoning somebody is whatever. But just keep in mind that there, I think they confirmed this already, there will be weapon codings, right? And maybe you can code your weapon in poison. So suddenly when people can run around with a poison weapon, Serene with being immune to poison might be really, really good. On top of that, we have timestamps with all the topics that I picked. Keep in mind, most of them, not all of them, because there were quite a few. And once more, keep in mind that the tech test was just that, a tech test. Server infrastructure, backend server, connectivity, and all that stuff. That was the goal of the tech tests, not balance. But now I think for the open beta, and no, I don't know when that will be, we need to tune a few things, okay? And talk about a few quality of life things that Hunger, in my opinion, will need. So I don't want to have a video just praising the game for an hour, because that would be too easy, honestly. Let's have a video that is pretty long that focuses now on these pain points. And this will be the structure from today. So I will always introduce the pain point, right? Why it's an issue, and then a possible solution, for most of it at least. And here we go. And I think we will just start with the biggest one, and that will be fencing, like the lunge attack that we have in the game. So let's start with explaining what is it actually. There's a mastery called fencing. This lets you lunge forward during a thrust attack. Additionally, you can improve the skill with this mastery right here. This is very effective with spears and rapiers, but can be done with other weapons too. Now, once you are at the max momentum, you jump and you basically fly a short distance. So what's the challenge with this one? Well, there are multiple challenges. Number 1, it looks goofy. Number 2, if one player has the skill and one doesn't, the people lacking the skill face 2 issues. The first one is that you can never escape somebody with the skill, and the second is that you struggle pursuing somebody with the skill. Finishing off a player who is losing the fight is hard. No loaded guns in that moment, the guy's gone. And then number 3, any range build struggles hard against this. Now, what could be possible solutions? And there are a couple actually. So the first one would be to just simply lower the values. Okay, that the ability still works the way it does, but maybe cut it in half or something like that. Just tune the values from the mastery. What else can you do? Well, the real issue is the jump, actually. So when you lunge forward and at the maximum momentum, as I already described it, and then you jump there, you're taking off, quite literally. So maybe don't let people be able to jump when they lunge. I know that a few locations on the map kind of work around that mechanic though, so you would have to tweak those so they're still accessible. And then there's one more option that I saw a lot in the Discord and Reddit, is that you put a cooldown on it. I'm not a huge fan of a cooldown, honestly, because first of all, it still looks dumb, okay? So I just don't think I want it. Also from a gameplay point of view, I don't think cooldowns feel that great for something like this. I also saw the comment that Good Fun Corp should just bite the bullet and get rid of it completely. And I disagree a lot on this one. Now why? Because we want melee and shooting to be both viable. Now in the previous tech test 2, the high-end guns, the purple ones, they were absolutely dominating, okay? You could play melee with a little bit of tactical play, but at the end of the day, the guns were dominating hard. Last tech test, I have to say, melee felt way better, more accessible. You need a skill like this, so you can actually play something that focuses on melee. I'm not talking about 100% melee builds, okay? But otherwise, if you don't have a gap closer, the range builds will just run away from you. They will run away, reload the weapons while they're running, turn around, shoot you with a couple guns, maybe even hot swap them, shoot you a little bit more, and you will never be able to reach them. This will be insanely frustrating. So I think we do need this skill, but not with these values. If I do from the top of a hill a single fencing move, a single lunge, and I'm right next to you, then something's wrong. So I personally think either remove jumping while you do this move, or reduce the values by a lot. So you can still get to somebody, but you're not like Superman. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot that, so let me just squeeze this clip in here. They already addressed this in the latest missive. If you watched that video from me, you know it already, but some of you probably didn't. But there you go. They're aware that Lunge is too strong. I hope they nerf it enough. Then another thing that I saw a lot, and I agree with that one, is footstep audio. So let me explain this real quick. And honestly, it's kind of self-explaining. Sneaking up on somebody is too easy because the footsteps are too quiet. So what's the challenge here? Getting the jump on somebody in hunger is huge. Melee weapons deal a tremendous amount of damage. Getting in a heavy attack means the opponent very often dies to the follow-up swing. Realizing what is going on, and worst case scenario, you have a gun in your hand, switching to your melee weapon takes too long and you die. Maybe once people use the dodge ability more, this might become less of an issue. So what could be a possible solution? And honestly, it's kind of straightforward. Just make the footsteps a little bit louder. From at least running and walking. Crouching in this game is almost silent. And yes, I am aware, there are masteries that increase the audio for footsteps. However, fresh players don't have access to this mastery, and they get jumped them basically by higher level people who have the trait maybe already. So this is one of the few things where I would just say across the board, increase the footstep audio by a little bit. The amount of times my teammates got scared that I showed up right next to them is kind of bonkers. Footsteps are a warning system that you don't get jumped. Players who pay attention to that should get rewarded, and people who don't should get punished. But if there's not really much to react to, it's difficult. And I mentioned the dodge thing because this is something that a lot of people just simply don't use in the game yet. And that's okay. We're playing tech tests and betas here, so of course we don't have like the elite veterans yet. When somebody hits you, lots of people just run away in panic, try to switch to the melee weapon and die. You need to face the threat and dodge to the side or dodge backwards. But hey. Another thing that I saw a lot, especially in Discord, was hot swapping. So let me explain hot swapping. You can have multiple guns in your stowed weapon slots. By opening the inventory and double-clicking the gun, you can hot swap the gun and get another high damage shot on the target. Running a triple Louisville rifle is potentially an insane amount of damage. So what's the issue with this? And I'm not 100% sure if it actually is an issue. It lets people that have ramrod rifles stay somewhat competitive, right? They need to bring a lot of guns. They also commit to a lot of weapon slots. But in the hands of people who have ridiculous aim, a triple Louisville rifle will just straight up kill you. Louisville rifle deals 79 damage to the body. So if I bring 3 and all of them connect to the body, you're dead. So, yeah. What could be a possible solution? Maybe we need a short timer to switch to these guns. Back in the days, kind of funny to talk about back in the days for a game that isn't even in early access yet, you could hot swap armors instantly. This was of course very cheesy because you bring 4 to 5 high tier armor chest pieces and you gain a ridiculous amount of life. But nowadays there's a timer, so you cannot instantly swap the armor, and in PvP that timer is pretty long. Maybe add a similar mechanic to guns, maybe 3 seconds, maybe make it dependent on the size of the gun. Personally, I think we need to be careful here and not completely demolish bringing multiple rifles, but there are traits that let you reload guns automatically after a certain time in your inventory. So people can run 2 to 4 guns, shoot them all at you, then kite you, rotate, maybe get into a better position, wait until the reload in your backpack is done, and then do the same devastating salvo again. And I can see this being an issue. I think right now it's too early to tell, and it's not something that is top priority. Maybe start with a 3-second swap timer and then go from there. And then the next one will be solo PvP frequency / MMR queue system. Yeah, okay. Let's be real here. Currently in the game, we don't have a real matchmaking system. Otherwise, we would get way too empty. lobbies. Some kind of matchmaking is probably needed. That being said, there are plenty of games out there who manage without them. Like, for example, Escape from Tarkov. Although Escape from Tarkov being a benchmark for this feels a little bit weird. But let's talk about hunger. At the beginning of TT3, solos queued against everything. That won't work. You can't win against trios. Against duos, I think it's possible, but against trios, there's just no way. I don't care that there are clips of people killing trios as a solo. I really don't, because whenever I look at these clips, it's somebody who played already a shit ton this game, or outlevels them hard, or has crazy gear. And I'm talking here about somebody running around with a snap pistol and the other guys coming around with, I don't know, a spear and a rapier. Okay? Yeah, sure. But that's not really the level we should look at. Because whenever I look at these clips, I'm afraid that Canada is giving Good Fun Corp a call, complaining that they want their seals back for their annual baby seal clubbing. So you need to outgear, outlevel, and outplay trios hard to win. It would be nice though to queue into duos though. Why? Because solo queues are ratty as fuck. Once you have some practice, you make zero noise. You know where the sound traps are, you know where the tripwires are, and you don't have to shoot bloats anymore. One method to deal with them quietly is just to trigger them, run away, and their unaggro range is pretty short, and then you can just go where they were a couple seconds ago, easy peasy. In my opinion, a pure solo queue is not ideal. That being said, we only have a fraction of the finished game. There will be more AI, for example, the Screecher and the Tower, and I would assume that the Screecher is something that makes sound, right? At least that would be logical. And maybe expeditions won't even be the place to go for PvP, since there will be dedicated battlegrounds. And maybe we also get like an arena of some kind. Would be freaking dope to have like a jousting area where you just can go in with melee weapons and then bash each other to pieces. I would love that. Let's put the solo topic aside though. Matchmaking in general will be a hot topic, and I will probably get a few mean comments now. I think that, at least at the beginning, all we need are brackets. There is not the biggest difference between green armor and blue armor, or maybe even purple. A longsword, at least at the time of me recording everything, will two-shot you with 2 good heavy attacks. And longswords are really common. The one thing that will decide battles are masteries. They have a huge impact. It's almost like we're playing an RPG game. A level 100 Hugo will simply stomp 3 level 1 Maries. The higher the level, the more you can neglect the level difference. The difference between level 60 and 90 in terms of combat prowess is a gap you can close with skill. But the difference between level 1 and 50 is huge. You must catch your enemy completely off guard by sitting behind a door with a decent melee weapon. For early access, I think brackets will be enough, like 0 to 20, 20 to 50, and then 50 plus. But keep in mind that they might change masteries. Okay, make a few things, maybe even baseline, so it's still too early to tell. A more refined matchmaking can be developed once we have more info and once we know the size of the player base. A good matchmaking needs a big player base to work properly. And no, I don't think that gear plays that big of a role, especially with melee weapons. Well, there are maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. Go away. I'm gonna talk about you later. The high tier rifles are limited by ammo scarcity, and you felt it during the tech test. Yeah, I know, everybody was freaking out in the comment section about the Lasher video that I posted where I played with Nino, and I was able to play this exactly 1 round in 100 hours. Okay, just to put this into perspective. Maybe I was just unlucky, but what do I know? Also keep in mind that when you lose gear like a purple gun or a legendary weapon, you can't just simply rebuy it. When I lose in Hunt Showdown a Mosin Sniper, I just buy a second one. That doesn't work in this game. So the too long didn't read, brackets at the beginning with level ranges will be enough for early access. At the end of the day, making a matchmaking system is like going into politics. Somebody will always be mad at you. And the next one, hey, we're playing an extraction game, and an extraction game? Without extraction camping? Can't have that. So, the explanation. Extraction camping, we're playing a looter shooter, people wait at the extractions, they kill you, who did all the hard work, got all the loot, they just snack your bags from your cold, dead hands, they extract, and they're happy. You, probably not so much. So Good Fun Corp added after the first playtest the red smoke to the extraction. And to make the extraction camping harder. So the moment a player enters the 50-meter radius around one of these balloons, it pops the red smoke. Yeah. The issue with this mechanic, though, is I think the anti-extraction camping mechanic is the wrong way around. Let me explain. The balloon pops the red smoke whenever a player enters the extraction zone. And in my opinion, that made extraction camping easier. People stay outside of the 50-meter radius, which you can do easily with the extraction marker and the shown distance to the extraction. And then they wait. Once the smoke shows up, they know somebody's here and they can jump out of their bushes or shoot from their bushes. The amount of times I unintentionally changed my path to the extraction because I saw red smoke next to me is quite significant. In my opinion, the red smoke is helping the people who camp, not the people who want to leave. So what could be a possible solution? First of all, I think we should increase the radius that pops the smoke. Hear me out. I think adding, let's say 25 meters. Okay, it's not set in stone. Make it 75 meters. That's the radius around the balloon where the red smoke pops. However, the red smoke only pops the moment there are two teams in the zone. And I think this helps a lot because if you want to extraction camp, you need to be then in the 75-meter radius to realize when people are coming, right? But when you want to extract and you go to the extraction and you're inside the 75-meter bubble and you see red smoke on the balloon, you know other people are here. And suddenly you're warned. Right now, the red smoke is not really warning you. It's just ringing the dinner bell for everybody else. I also saw, I mean, no big surprise, the Hanchoron people say, hey, wouldn't it be good if there would be like a horn ringing or something as a warning and not the smoke? I'm not a huge fan of that for multiple reasons. First of all, if there's like a huge audio sound effect going on, you do not hear what the enemy is doing, and fighting by sound will be important in Hunger. The next thing is you can hear the horn. Okay, so even people who do not have a line of sight to the balloon get triggered, and then we have again this, ringing the dinner bell syndrome. Just get me one thing clear though, extraction camping will always be a thing. It's in Hunt Showdown, it is an Escape from Tarkov, I love the two. We also had this in the cycle, we kinda had the airlock camping in Marauders. Ripped that game and also ripped the cycle, sad stories, but hey. And it's also a little bit the same with Arc Raiders, man, where people just camp the elevators. It's the nature of the game, I get that, but at least we shouldn't make it too easy for them, right? And then next thing is the visibility of armor. So let me explain this. You don't see which level of armor enemies are wearing since it doesn't get displayed on their character. Only weapons, slings, backpacks and hip bags are visible on a player character. So what's the issue here? It is hard to determine the gear level of an enemy when you fight them. There is a symbol when their armor breaks, but you don't really have a clue how geared they are. So one possible solution for this one from the community was, well, just display it on the character. I don't think that will happen because Good Fun Corp is putting so much time in these absolutely mind-blowing skins. They will not let you display a helmet or an armor piece on that one. So how can we fix this? In my opinion, there should just be a visible indicator when you hit somebody. So when you shoot them, the armor icon pops up. And right now, I think it's gray. So gray when you have gray armor, green when they have green armor, blue when they have blue, and so on. Same with the helmet. You could also make a sound effect, for example, for the helmets, right? So when you shoot them, maybe you get a different sound effect depending on the armor that they have. I personally would just say, make this a visual thing, but the sound effects, surprisingly enough, I saw it quite a bit. There was also a suggestion, and I kind of like it, that you can skill a mastery, and when you aim at somebody, it tells you what they're wearing. I think from a user interface point of view, this might be a little bit tricky. And second, I don't like these moves where you have no risk. So when there's like purple or orange popping up, they will just not shoot. And the moment they see gray, they will shoot. With my version, you have to commit at least a little bit. And when you fight from range, there's still enough time to, you know, turn around and run away and bail. But I like that the enemy then gets alerted. Okay, the guy shot at me, maybe he missed, maybe he hit me. He realizes I'm wearing purple and decides to bail, but at least I'm alert, right? the other way around, when there is no indicator for me as a person who gets aimed at, blech. Maybe the guy stalks me, then I get hit by a brute because I mess up, and then I'm a one tap even for a brown Betty. Yeah, that will not feel too great. There are masteries though that tell you when somebody aims at you. I don't know how that looks yet because I didn't try it yet. Maybe in the open beta I will do that. So I would just go with, when you shoot somebody, it displays the armor symbol, which it does already right now, and then just color code this. I think that would be a good way to do this. Next thing is maps verticality. The maps in Hunger have a lot of verticality. There are lots of cliffs, especially on the map Sombre Forest. Getting up these cliffs needs some very long rotations. The same can be said about some of the ravines. So what is the issue here? Fighting from the low ground is very often catastrophic, especially right now since you don't have consumables like grenades. You down a player, they crawl a few steps back, break line of sight to you, and then they can get revived easily by their teammate. They can probably completely armor up with plates and heal up before you rotate all the way around the cliff. On top of that, the stairways going up are sometimes hard to see. Now, what could be a possible solution? I would say add more staircases. That means you can go the cliffs up a little bit quicker. Give the staircases some visual indicators where they are. For example, lantern, torches. They might have that already a little bit. I would make this a bit more dominant. Like for example, the top parts in Sombre Forest, like the stairs in Sombre Forest, are hard to find actually. So if they would be at the top, at the border of the cliff, the border of the cliff, here we go, a torch that can be visible for 50 meters, it's way easier to find these points, because otherwise it's honestly kinda annoying. And yes, I know there are plans for grenades and other throwables, but some of these cliffs, man, they are so high. No way you're gonna toss something up there and reliably hit somebody. Maybe they add a few more cargo elevators. They have that already in the game in some of the dungeons. Maybe add 2 or 3 to Sombre Forest. Might even make sense because they have to transport the wood and everything. Wouldn't be too bad. Maybe some corded ladders. Oh, yeah, we don't have a climbing animation, actually, like for ladders and stuff like that. Yeah, that's maybe a little bit more complicated, but I would like to see some corded ladders to get out of the ravines. Especially that one specific ravine in Sombre Forest. That thing drives me crazy. Whenever you fall down there, it takes a while to get out there. So yeah. So, what else can we talk about? And the Reconnect feature. Yeah, the Reconnect feature is a no-brainer. I don't need to explain this, and I don't need to say why and not. We are playing a looter game, right? With shooting and slashing and everything. But it's just painful when you have all the loot and then the game crashes and there is no option for you to reconnect. So please, give us a Reconnect feature. That's already the end of the topic. Another thing that a lot of people were surprised about was that there is no random queue. Okay, so random queue is a topic, and the explanation why random queue is not in the game, I think Good Fun Corp was afraid that a lot of people would kill their teammates for loot. Because the loot is for everybody on the map, and not per player. So when you loot a box and it's empty, the other guy doesn't get it anymore. When you loot, for example, a very rare weapon, and you play with randoms, and the guy has a bad day, or is just in general a douchebag, here you can already see where this is going. So that would be quite a hustle to solve this. But I think lots of people were asking for random queues because they just don't want to play solo. And they want to play with other people. So add a random queue, but make this safer. So let's talk about a few solutions. Solution number 1 would be, suggested from people, that you just can't loot what your teammate has. Not a good solution, because sometimes your teammate dies to natural causes or, you know, to enemies in PvP, and you might need their resources to survive and keep on fighting and get out of there. Would be kind of lame that you cannot, you know, your teammate is screaming at you, hey bro, I have 5 more blue armor plates in my body, take those and get out of there. And then you can't loot that. There was also another suggestion that you cannot loot from teammates when you damage them. I like that one more, but honestly, team damage in Hunger can happen rather quickly, so you would need to work with a threshold, right? When you deal over 150 damage to a teammate, like over a match, right? Then you should not be able to loot it. Accidental team damage when you swing two-handed weapons in close range can happen very quickly. But I'm not a huge fan of that either, although I like it more than the other one. I personally think when you loot something from a teammate and you extract it, it should get sent automatically to them. I think Arena Breakout Infinite had that system, or has that system, right? When you loot something from your friend and you extract, it will be sent to them. Put a little post office box right next to Louis, right? And whenever you extract, for example, the weapons and the armor from your teammates, it will be sent automatically to that box and that player can loot it. Maybe that's a solution. I don't know how easy it is to implement that because I'm not a dev. But I think that would be the ideal solution. A solution that we can refine later on then. And then something that I see non-stop, the Discord. Better free kits. So, you can lose everything in this game, and once you hit rock bottom, you can get a free wooden dagger from Louis. Well, actually, you can get the pricker whenever you want to from Louis. You just ask him for one, and, you know, if you want to do a challenge run or something like that. The issue is that a pricker alone for free is not enough for most people to be able to bounce back with gear. So, what is a possible solution? Now, back in my days, we didn't get free items, and we just had to crawl around and rat around like a cow. Yeah, that's how it is, though, when you play the pricker. I personally tried it, and with the pricker alone, you can do some loot runs, get some guns, and then go to a city, loot some cupboards, and you have a backpack and even some gray or green armor, and you're good to go again. I'm gonna be honest, I think the main issue is the mindset. That people are not used that whenever you have a pricker, you're not supposed to do PvP. You can, and if you win, you probably make profit, but it's a run where you should keep a low profile, go on a loot run, get some ammo boxes, get some weapon boxes, and then get out of there again. And don't be PvP hungry, okay? But I get it, that's not super fun, and some people even struggle with the pricker. No hate intended, okay? And I don't think it's an issue to give people a snap pistol with 5 crude ammo so people can deal with bloats, and maybe a knapsack, and that's it. I don't think the economy of hunger will take a big hit when people have this, and then they have more fun. On the other hand, I think people will always complain and they will never be satisfied. So the moment you start with this, they're asking for a bigger backpack, then they're asking for a better pistol. Yari. Okay, that's so yeah. But I still think that a little bit upgrading the free stuff is not a bad idea. And then let's talk about the armor system. In Hunger, you can wear 3 pieces of armor. A chest plate, which works like a simple HP increase, a helmet to reduce the headshot multiplier damage, and leg armor to reduce damage to the legs. And the issue is, well, quote-unquote issue, people think that armor is everything and it's too strong. Possible solution? Not needed. Boy, am I looking forward to the comments right now. But let me explain. The armor plates are fine. Like the chest plates, not armor plates. You use those to repair it. And honestly, I was running around with blue armor and a green helmet, and a spear freaking one-tapped me. Yeah, they can do that right now. I hope that gets adjusted though. Talking point for later. But even a longsword with 2 heavy attacks can kill you. The HP increase, it's there. It can decide battles, and it should decide battles. To a certain extent, right? You should not be a walking tank, unkillable. But what's the point otherwise in getting better gear when it's not doing anything in combat? It should give you the edge though, and not like a free ticket to stomp somebody. It's not working like in Escape from Tarkov, where you run tier 6 armor plates, the guy has trash ammo, and you just tank the whole mag, right? And then you're like, ah, okay, the itching is gone, it was a nice, good back scratch. I do agree though that some of the helmets might need a tuning. And also, it's not the headshot damage. That's something that I saw non-stop in the Discord. It's the multiplier. So a Louisville rifle deals 79 damage, alright, times 2. So let's say just with 80, so you deal 160 damage. That's for a headshot. And then, this is the damage with a green helmet. So from the additional 79, you reduce the C79 by 25%, and then you get the right number. Yeah. Maybe we need to adjust like the bigger ones, that it's not going in 25, 50, 75, and 100. Maybe we do 15, 30, 45, I don't know, 60, right? But those are values that are tunable, okay? I personally had no issue killing people even with legendary gear. And then the lag armor is mostly against rulers, because if you hit the lags in melee combat, you're doing something wrong. So I do agree that armor can give you the edge, as it should. And I don't have an issue with the armor system in general. I saw a lot of people also complain that the armor repair takes too long. None of these people skilled the faster repair. I don't do that because it doesn't deal damage to the enemy. But if you struggle so much with the armor thing, you can actually skill this for faster repairing. And once you have access to the armor plates, it feels balanced, honestly. And I don't understand. Some people expect like, yeah, you snip your fingers and you're back into the game. That would also feel weird. The amount of times I had like 4 black limbs in Tarkov and I was just sitting there in the bush with my surgery kit a long time. In hunts, to be fair, it goes really fast. You take 1 garden card, 1 big vid shot, and you're back in the game. But sometimes you just sit there and let the region shot do the thing. It's faster than hunger, though. I give you that. But that might just be the case because you didn't skill it yet, or maybe they will adjust the values for that too. Then let's talk about damage values. And yes, I'm the one who always said, guys, we're playing a tech test. It's not about balance. But now the open beta comes, and now we should give constructive feedback how we're feeling about some of the weapons. It was not a goal for the tech test, but it should be one for the open beta. And there is only one weapon that really rubbed me the wrong way, and that was the spear. That thing is just the jack of all trades. Let me show you what I mean. Because dang, there's noise everywhere. And yep. Bro, one shot? Yeah, so I have to say that overall guns felt pretty balanced, with the Vapor being a little bit more common there at the end, but still nothing too critical. And bigger guns, they were basically unicorns during the last tech test. The only legendary gun that I ever saw was, I think, the Jaeger, that I found myself, that I brought myself, that I lost in the first PvP fight because, yeah, the animation of the enemy wasn't showing. Good times. I did see a few more legendary weapons like the Zweihander, but I don't think the Zweihander is busted because it's slow, clunky. And then we look at the spear. I don't think a weapon should have sick damage, sick range, and sick mobility as a blue weapon. I don't think that should be. It's just the Swiss army knife of hunger. Lots of strengths and not a lot of drawbacks. Can't even think right now of a single drawback of playing the spear. Well, except maybe the higher stamina consumption. But that's kind of whatever when they're dead anyway. So please tune the spear for the open beta a bit. Lower the damage, and then I think we're good to go. Maybe buff a little bit the short sword. Now, the short sword and the long sword, they're both green weapons. Long sword does not perform like a green weapon at all. Again, I still don't know exactly how they want to do this with these rarity systems, because they said the rarity system only means how rare something is, not how good something is. Okay, so the spear is blue because you don't find it very often, but it's definitely somewhere in the purple area. So a long sword from a rarity is definitely green because it's super common, but stat-wise it should definitely be more towards blue. And I think making a rarity system with colors where it is already established in the community, hey, gray is trash, green is meh, blue is good, purple is very good, and then you have legendary, which is like absolutely bonkers. Coming with like a new label system there, yeah, I don't think people will understand that. Okay, then we have a quality of life topic actually, and that will be queuing and cancel the queue for an expedition. Right now, you have to go to Renault, talk to him and say, hey, I'm ready to go, which is fine. The issue is later on then, when you are not close to him. and suddenly you realize, oh shit, I forgot something, or oh, I still have something in my inventory, I want to store it in my stash. And while you might not have a problem with this when you're still in the outer ramparts, the moment you're in the cauldron, it is way too far to get to Renault when the timer starts. So there should be at least an option to cancel the queue. So what I did is I queued up, then I went to the cauldron, and I bought some ammo, and I want to put it in the stash. And that was always a little bit of a risky move, because when I buy ammo there, or like more armor plates, and the queue timer started, I brought that into the match. Which was not always what I wanted to do. Now you can of course be, well, I mean, just do the ammo shopping first, and then put it in the stash, and then talk to Renault. Yeah, but then I just stand around, and I really like it that you can actually do something in the chateau while you queue. Okay, but being able to cancel the queue for whatever reason, actually, not just for what I mentioned right now, I think would be pretty nice. Another feedback that I saw is that it will be a little bit tiresome to just go from one vendor to the other and then to the other, and people just want to hit one hotkey and then they just do shopping. Like, for example, in Escape from Tarkov. I get from where you're coming. I absolutely dislike this. If we have, again, like one screen that has all the vendors and you just click through it, we can just take the whole chateau and burn it down. Because what's the point of this super flavorful thing then? When you go to the vendor, you buy in stacks. You don't go there that often, I think. I think this will just hurt the vibe and the atmosphere of the game. I do understand from where you're coming, but nah. Another thing was also, because we're already talking about vendors that they're too expensive, they said it already in the missive, that they will adjust this for the open beta. Okay, we have another big topic that absolutely needs to be talked about. One topic, and I almost didn't want to cover this, because A, I'm lacking the technical knowledge how everything works, and B, this is again where people are a little bit loco when it comes to this. Let's talk about cheating and real-life money trading, RMT. So people are worried because there will be an auction house at one point, and people are afraid that they get the same cheating shit show for loot like they have in Escape from Tarkov. So the issue is RMT. RMT stands for real-life money trading. People cheat in-game to get high-value items and sell these on third-party homepages for real money. And a possible solution, but not the holy grail, is to make real-life money trading as unappealing as possible. With this auction house, you take it and you put it into the third and fourth zone of the chateau. That means when you get banned for, you know, whatever the shit you did, you can't just make a new account, turn on your cheats and make money with the auction house, because you still have to go through all the quests from the outer ramparts and all the quests through the cauldron to get there. So that's already something that I absolutely love, because some games died because they didn't have this. I mean, just look at the cycle. First issue was free to play. Like, never make your game free to play. Hunger confirmed already, I think, that they will be 30 euros, which is an absolute steal for this game. So they're already not free to play. But when you're free to play and you get banned, you just make a new account, and then there is no barrier keeping you from the interesting stuff. Your game dies. They did that later on in the cycle, I think, that the follow-up maps were only accessible behind quest lines. So when you got banned, you couldn't just go there again and gobble up all the high-value loot with your cheats. But it was too late at that point. So they really need to be careful with this. Putting the auction house, though, into the later zones of the chateau also feels a little bit meh, because you're blocking the people that might rely on the auction house for gear in the initial zones. So that means that for weeks, probably, for a regular player, or days, let's say days, because I have no clue how long it takes you to get to the second zone in the chateau, you don't have access to this. The next thing is that we can't really trade in the chateau, right? You can't drop items. You do have to go into a raid. Then somebody has to drop the gear, you take the gear, and then you have to go to the extraction, which doesn't even exist at the beginning. You have to wait for a while until the first one shows up, and then you have to extract with it. And since the Lockbox is very limited in size. The base lockbox that you get after finishing the questline for Louise is exactly 1 slot. 1. So yeah, I don't really know if real-life money trading will be that great for a system that we have right now. The auction house also should work as, or should have an automatic flag system. When there are some huge values going around, account should get flagged. You review this, and when they're doing something that is clearly not possible, they should be banned. Yeah, I have no idea how some people sell bazillions of graphic cards in Escape from Tarkov and just nothing happens. But okay. And once more, a ban needs to hurt so people are afraid of it. In Hunger, you lose your professions, but you can't cheat them. You have to grind the materials. You still have to craft that. All the cosmetics are gone, right? The levels are gone. The prestige unlocks are gone for your cosmetics, for the tacticals, and for the mastery abilities, and for the ultimates and everything. So the list goes on. In Hunt Showdown, when I cheat and I get banned, it's... yeah, you lose your skins, but there is no profession that you can lose. There is no gear that you can really lose, because you win one match in Hunt Showdown and you have enough to buy again base Mosin and base Dolph. So sure, a few things are locked behind levels, but you reach that rather quickly. Like in a day or something, you have everything unlocked again. That will not be possible in Hunger. The too long didn't read though is cheating will always be a thing in online games. You will never have a cheat-free game. Make it difficult to do any real-life money trading and make it hurt when you do get banned. One thing that I didn't mention yet though, and I think that's also important, I'm sadly already in the too long didn't read part, but who cares? I don't. When you get killed by somebody who was a confirmed cheater, you should get your stuff back. So this is something that a lot of games do nowadays. You get killed by a cheater and it will send you the loadout later on, or any form of compensation. Because it's great when the cheater gets banned after I reported him, but I still probably lost all my loot I was working for the whole day. And that's what really hurts. So yeah. So we even talked about cheating now. Sweet. And now we're at the end of today's video. So if your topic, your pain point was not in today's video, then maybe it's gonna be in a different one. I think I got most of the big topics. So let's see what Good Fun Corp will do. I hope a lot for the open beta, especially the lunging, the fencing. That was probably the #1 thing. Don't forget to drop a like if you're still here. Amazing. Thank you for watching the whole thing. And then at the end, maybe a sub, because we will have more Hunger content very soon. And as always, I want to use this moment to say thank you to my patrons for supporting me over on Patreon. You guys are simply the best. And right here, more videos, more streams. Amazing. I'll see you next one. Until then, have a good day and bye-bye.